Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Run It Back, the anime edition. I'm joined as always by my illustrious co-host, Mr. Chrissa SJE. Chrissa, it's been a hot minute since we done one of these. Like a hot minute.
The last movie was.
The last Run It Back movie that we did together? Hold on,
mean,
I'm gonna tell you. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, let me look it up. Because I don't even the last one we did was Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
That's about is we doing back-to-back classics, you know what I'm saying?
Had to, and it's back-to-back cyberpunk movies. And this is the one that influenced Ghost in the Shell.
Damn.
Yeah, 100%. And so for people who don't know, Chris and I today are reviewing the 1988 classic Akira. So, Chris, the way we do this show is we always do background. We do the best scenes, best animated moments, best fights, if you have some. Who won the movie, who took the dub, who took the L, and then some outline questions and six-man of the movie. Well, with this movie, before we get into background, because there's a lot of interesting facts about this movie, I want to get your opening thoughts because this is a very, very interesting movie, and there's multiple ways we need to approach this. So I want to start off with, what is your initial thoughts of this movie?
It's definitely complex. I'll say that. It's definitely complex, and it's definitely abridged as well. Because it's definitely not the full. You're not getting the full story. You're getting like the full story bundled in. You feel me?
Yep, because that's one of the facts is about like how this story isn't fully told. Like, you know what I mean? Like how the movie was made before the manga finished. So there's a slightly different ending to the manga than the movie.
Well, I think they got like it was close to ending. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they got like because I want to say it's 6 volumes. You know what I'm saying? It's six volumes, and they did.
I think it's just the ending that's different.
Yeah, but they like stuffed all the middle volumes because they got like some of volume 6 in there. You feel me? It's like they did like a little bit of the beginning and a little bit of the end before the end was done, and they tried to stuff all the in between together. But like definitely it was some bridge shit. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely was fire. It was a fire adaptation of what they had adapted.
And something that we don't always see is this movie was directed by the person who wrote the manga.
Oh shit! Now see, I didn't know that for sure.
Yes, there's a lot of interesting facts about this movie. Now, some of my early thoughts are from the first time I saw it. The first time I saw it, I thought it was just like this cool cyberpunk movie, which me and you talked about off air, like why people like it for the aesthetic. The second time I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, the Esper shit, okay. And then the third time I watch it, I take up the layer of the terrorist organization. The fourth time I watch it, I start to pick up like the philosophies of like power and God behind it. And then now this time, everything's coming together. This movie's an onion that I suggest people watch multiple times. And the good thing about this movie is even though it's 2 hours, I feel like it's very rewatchable. I feel like it's very run it backable.
Definitely. I definitely feel like it's definitely running backable. It just has like so much content they deliver to you in such a short time and so much to digest in such a little like even though it's 2 hours, it's a lot to digest in those 2 hours. Yep. You feel me? You got to really take it in for what it is.
Would you have preferred would you prefer this movie be a TV show?
I do. I would. I do prefer, like, I wish they would come back and remake it to where it's like, okay, Akira, 2021, and
but I would not want 3D like anime.
A 1 hour special. No, for sure not 3D anime.
I want it to stay the same. And there's a fact about the animation that is the reason why I don't think we'll get it today. But I agree with you. I would love to have it like done in anime style to where they can fully flesh it out. Because I feel like there's so many ideas that were left on the cutting room floor.
Facts. Like even if it's just like some seasonal, like we get we get it in parts. Like say we get an hour part, like hour per each part, and they give us 6 to 12 parts because it's a 6 volume manga. So if you give us a 6 one, I don't even want to say 6 parts, but like 12 parts with an hour long a piece. You feel me? I feel like it wouldn't be it would be pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So let's dive into background. So, okay, Akira is a 1988 Japanese animated post-apocalyptic cyberpunk action film directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, produced by Ryohei Suzuki and Shizuno Kato, and was written by Otomo and Izo Hashimoto, based on Otomo's 1982 manga of the same name. Set in dystopian 2019, Akira tells the story of Kaneda, a leader of a biker gang whose childhood friend Tetsuo acquires an incredible telekinetic ability after a motorcycle accident, eventually threatening an entire military complex amid chaos and rebellion in sprawling futuristic metropolitan of Neo-Tokyo. Akira premiered in Japan in July 6, 1988. It was released the following year in the United States by pioneering animation distributor Streamline Pictures, which they need a lot of praise because, funny enough, do you want to know a fact that Steven Spielberg regrets that he said?
What he said?
Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were the first people offered to bring Akira to Western audiences because of Star Wars and because of how Japan views Star Wars and Jaws. They feel that those two people are the greatest filmmakers in America. They turned it down because they didn't believe it would suit American audiences and that it was marketable to American audiences. The biggest L of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas's career.
Why would it not be marketable to American audiences?
Because it's violence, about the war. I think the war, the war complex, and I feel like they thought the ideas were. Honestly, I felt like they thought American audiences were dumb.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. Although I do agree with the sentiment that the film would definitely go above people's heads, especially
back then,
first watch. Like, I feel like some people would really, like, the real movie buff would really appreciate what was going on in the movie, you know what I'm saying? But your average viewer probably would be like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Especially in 1990. Like,
exactly. But for the 80s, like, I feel like this is like or like the early 90s, I feel like this is like it's still beautifully animated. And I feel like the fight scenes, the gore, the action and shit would draw people in but I'm not gonna lie, that was back then when it was a weird time for just movies in general. You would see action, but you wouldn't see any cartoon action. I remember the only anime-esque kind of rated R movie we got back in the day was like Heavy Metal 2000.
And that was that was just like a bunch of just random like animated things with just like, it wasn't like fights scene. Like the first real American thing,
random shit
that had like real fights, I would say, was probably Batman the Animated Series. Because even the early Justice League series, DC did the Justice League and Friends, they did a documentary where in that show they could only hit like robots and non-living things. Like they couldn't hit normal humans. That's why they're always throwing gadgets or doing some crazy shit, and like you never see blood. So the first real animation that does it has to be Batman the Animated Series.
Well,
and I could be wrong.
I just don't know. That. I don't see any that do like they go to that R-rated level. You know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't happen for a while. Not till like Spawn, the HBO series.
But like really? in America, like you, especially early 90s, you don't see a lot of rated R cartoon content. I remember whenever South Park came out, it's comedy, it's satire. You could only deliver that kind of rated R, rated TV MA comedy through South Park. You feel me?
That's what I'm saying.
HBO
when that
came
Spawn,
out, people were just like,
HBO Spawn has to be the first thing. I don't even know if you saw that. Like, it's like a deep
How old
HBO
is that?
cut. It's super, like, watch, hold on. I'm going to tell you because, hold on. Spawn, HBO. Let's see when this came out. It came out in 1997. So it was being made in like 96.
Okay.
So that's like the first real, like, instance of gore. So I understand why
that's
George
like
Lucas,
late 90s or halfway through the 90s.
That's what I'm saying. And I understand why they did it, but just imagine to have that on their resume, like they brought Akira to American audiences.
It's risky.
Yeah, it is.
Like George Lucas probably saw the explosion kind of scene. I don't want to get into detail yet, but like, you know what I'm saying? The nasty scenes that are kind of graphic and was probably like, ugh, American audience is not gonna be able to digest this. What if my kids see this? Because back in the day, cartoons were for kids. There was barely any cartoons that was for adults. And they would have that argument to where like, oh, if you're gonna make a cartoon, you have to make it super, super clear that it's for adults. Cause I just let my kids watch anything that's a fucking cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays,
100%.
like with Adult Swim and shit, what not to let your kids watch. But in America, Akira, oh yeah, sure, honey, watch that. And like little 6-7-year-old sees the graphic. It's some weird shit for a kid to take in. Some weird shit. It's some uncomfortable shit for an adult to take in. So I can only imagine that
a child just randomly watching it.
Like, or just old America. Like old America is super hyper. Like, how our my moms and shit are like fuddy-duddy about shit. They're like super like, oh, I don't want to see that in my movies. Like, oh, that's too this or that's too that. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, that's whenever they were young and they were like really active and shutting that shit down. You feel me? Early 2000s, we got like some holes loosened to where for the past 20 years we've been kind of comfortable. You feel me? But I feel like before that it was all strict. It was super strict as far as that's probably why you didn't see a lot of gory cartoon. People were probably super finicky to put their hands on shit that looked like Akira.
Hell yeah, 100%. Well, let's get back to it. It garnered a cult following, an international worldwide cult following after various theaters and VHS releases. It ended up earning $80 million worldwide in home video sales. It's widely regarded by critics as one of the greatest animated and science fiction films ever made. It's a landmark in Japanese animation. It was pivotal film in the cyberpunk genre. And as well, like you said, in adult animation genre, one of the first of its kind. The film had significant impact on pop culture worldwide, and we'll get into some of the things it influenced in the Western world, from animation, comics, film, movies, TV, and video games. Akira was made during the cell animation days, meaning there was no computers that created the looks or features. Instead, it was extremely detailed paintings layered upon each other with care taken in each of these paintings to the extreme. So, Chrissa, each thing was a painting that was layered on. Like, can you imagine how long this took? Like, the way this movie looks and how incredible it is for it to be a bunch of paintings layered and moved. These people need to be they should have won an Oscar. This was before the Best Animation Oscar, but this should have won an Oscar. And I feel that the Academy was too finicky. This should have been nominated for Best Picture that year. That's how good this was.
Facts. And I don't even know how the Oscars did make a big splash.
It did. The Oscars didn't recognize animation until 2002.
But I was just saying, even with anime, like, how it was back in the day. Like right now, we waiting on the Demon Slayer movie still. Back in the day, like Akira would come out, what was it, 1988?
Yeah, we wouldn't get it till 89, 90. 89, 90.
Did it come out in America? Because that was
89, 90.
There's no way. There's no way they got it like the same year or the year after.
Listen to the year that Japan had in 1988. 3 of the most popular animes to influence the generation of mangaka that we have. Kishimoto, Oda, Horikoshi, and Taikubo all look back at this year and say this was one of the most influential years of their lives. They had Akira. 88. They had Akira, My Neighbor Totoro for the first real Studio Ghibli film, and then Grave of the Fireflies.
Remember the people out Grave of the Fireflies? Cause I hear a lot of shit about that, but I don't even know what it is.
It's one of the saddest movies. It's about war. We're gonna do it on Run It Back. It is so sad. Like, it will make you cry. And to have that war-torn, emotional backstory fused with this cyberpunk power-esque, and then with My Neighbor Totoro's comedy and fuzziness, it makes sense how One Piece, Naruto, My Hero Academia, all the great shonen MCs and characters that we love were inspired by this year. It just makes so much sense. But next up, we got Akira. Was one of the most visually impressive animated films at the time, with the film using an unprecedented number of shots and single pictures due to the fact that most of the film takes place at night and requires specific color requirements due to the requirements of the movie. The film was one of the most expensive animated movies at the time, with its budgets coming in at $10 million. Crazy to think that animated films use 50 and 60 and 70 million today for less quality, and this thing used 10 million and gave us this beautiful thing. Crazy. One of the most iconic scenes in Akira is the bike slide, with Kaneda sliding sideways on his bike away from the camera in the chase angle. This iconic scene has been referenced across several different medias since its initial release. Examples of properties that paid homage include Batman the Animated Series, Pokemon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Akira was based on a manga of the same name. Like we said, however, some people will may be shocked to know, like we said, the movie was actually released before the manga finished. I said the George Lucas thing. Okay. Akira has influenced numerous works in animation, comics, film, movie, TV, and video games. It inspired a wave of Japanese cyberpunk works that include Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel Alita, Cowboy Bebop, Serial Experiments Lane, Elfen Lied, Japanese films like Tetsuo the Iron Man, video games is Hideo Kojima's Snatcher, Metal Gear Solid, and Final Fantasy VII. Outside of Japan, the Hollywood films in America that have been influenced, that the directors that cited: The Matrix, Dark City, Kill Bill, Chronicle, Looper, The Dark Knight, Midnight Special, Inception, Godzilla, Batman Beyond, Stranger Things, the video games Half-Life, Remember Me, and others are inspired by Akira. And the Wachowski sisters actually said that Bullet Time was heavily inspired by Akira. And then Akira, the reason why they asked George Lucas, because Akira was inspired by Star Wars, but the prequels were inspired by Akira, including the Clone Wars film and TV, and Todd McFarlane incited that Akira influenced his HBO animated series Spawn, which allowed him to go the darker route and make it an adult animated TV show. He said without Akira, he wouldn't have felt comfortable to do the gore like he did. So without Akira, we don't get a lot of the shit that we love in the West.
For sure, for sure. That's like crazy the impact it had on the West.
From Kill Bill to Dark Knight to The Matrix to Looper, like Quentin Tarantino said Akira was one of the best things he watched at the time. And that makes sense because if you look at the anime inside of Kill Bill, looks very Akira-esque.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just crazy the impact it's had out here and in the West. You know what I'm saying? In the 90s of all times, when anime was not what it was, like, it's crazy to have a movie make a splash like that in a time where you don't really get anime movies dubbed in theaters out here. You feel me?
It just speaks to how we always say animation transcends the idea of kids, and it just shows that animation can be for adults, it can be taken seriously, and it can be done with proper care. Just because it's animated doesn't mean it's for children, and this is the first of many examples that show why animation should be taken seriously as a genre. And honestly, you're allowed to do more than you can in live action, and you can get crazier with it. Like the final scene in Akira could not have happened live action. And we will talk about live action at the end of this episode. But I wanted to, before we get to best scenes, I wanted to talk about what's Akira's underlying message, and I want to see if you agree with me. So to me, this movie's about an abuse of power. We see it throughout multiple angles of this movie, from the commander who usurps the government and arrests everybody in government to take control over the whole state and use his military power. And it was all about gaining power through the skies of, I'm protecting everybody from Akira, I'm trying to learn. And he used that as a guise to gain power, thus putting him down the track of the consequences that he got, making his life a living hell. But everybody who did shitty things experienced consequences. We can even go down to Kaneda, being a gang member, being inside of the gang, doing wrong, killing these people and tormenting people, ends up losing his friend, all of his friends, thus getting his bike wrecked for the choices he made. We see Tetsuo, ultimate thing. He starts going evil just because he feels so small in the universe that he doesn't have power, goes mad with power, thus having to leave the entire universe. We even see the doctor who's researching the stuff about Akira. He lies to the commander and doesn't say how bad it is just so he can get information to learn about energy, dies in his ship. He doesn't want to escape the power of him trying to learn, ends up killing him. We see the person who's in charge of the so-called rebels is doing this to gain power from the colonel. He's only using the rebels to make the colonel look bad and usurp him so he can gain power, and he ends up dying chasing that power, money and stuff. He could take his medicine and try to heal. Instead, he's more concerned about getting out of there, getting his money, and maintaining his power. We even see with the rebels, their whole quest was to change the government, but they don't realize they're being used, and they end up dying at the hands of it. That's their consequence. This movie is a constant theme about power and how people who abuse it suffer the consequences. And I think that's due to the fact that another underlying issue is Akira is a debate regarding the morality of developing nuclear weapons and the ultimate corruption involved in wielding such power. Again, power, the discussion of should we use this weapon that is just the ultimate power? What's the consequences of that being Akira, the godlike power? Also, another thing about this is the idea of if you give the power of a human to an amoeba, it will not do as humans do. It will just consume and destroy. If you give the power of a god to a human will just consume and destroy and crave more and more power. It's basically, we are not gods. We are still animals at the end of the day, and we still act like animals. It's about acknowledging it and trying to move forward and to fix it if we can. But the thing is, at the end of the day, power corrupts and ultimate power corrupts absolutely. How do you feel about these ideas that I'm spitting out?
No, that's definitely 100% facts. Like that's everything I was thinking. Like, and the thing is, I didn't really catch that the first few times I watched this movie.
There's no way.
The first time I watched this shit, I was josing off it the whole time. I wasn't really, you know what I'm saying, taking it all in. I was just like, whenever you watch some shit with your friends and you just watch, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, nobody's really getting it, but we're having a good time watching it. Second time, I kind of got a little bit more, but now it was really more apparent, especially being a little bit more mature than I was the first few times I watched it. Because I watched this, I remember the first time ever I watched it was as a kid. Like, I was in, I remember it made me super uncomfortable, but I was like 7th or 8th grade. You feel me? It was like the grassy years. And I remember I seen it on like Stars, and I watched it. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "This is crazy." It was just a whole lot to take in. I just remember the badass bike scenes, super hyper violence, but the themes didn't really resonate with me. I didn't really understand what was going on. And even now when I watch it, I gotta run scenes back. Like I remember like watching it just now. Like I watched it before we did the show. And I was back and forth in between the sub and the dub. I was watching both just to kind of compare
you watch. See, that's interesting. I watched this is one that is strictly the dub for me. I've never seen the sub.
The dub.
Do you not like the dub?
I'll say the sub is really great. I'll say the sub is great.
Crazy.
And the dub, and this is my first time ever watching the sub. I'm usually strictly dub. I've watched the dub a bunch
Being
of
a
times,
dub guy, this is blowing my mind. That you're not really. It sounds like you don't fuck with the dub.
Not as much as the sub. I can't even lie to you. Certain parts. There was a part. I'm gonna speak on it a little more when we get to it. But there's certain parts that for sure were more passionate in the Japanese dub, and this is just coming from me.
You're the dub guy of our group.
I will say one thing, especially watching the beginning of the movie. This dub screams 80s. So I don't hold that to it. Like I don't hold the age to the dub, but like literally, and a lot of the mouths were matching the vocals, and I feel like they tried to do that a lot too. So I feel like, they did a good job as far as what they probably were going for, because it definitely sounds like an 80s animated movie.
Sounds like a good dub. Like it's a good dub. Like I'm not even
saying this. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not a bad dub, but all I'm saying is certain moments. Scenes that certain moments that were super passionate lacked passion. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy. But now I gotta go watch the sub.
Of the moments. Bro, watch the sub and then compare it to the dub. Because I'm not gonna lie, the dub is good. It's just this. I can't put this up there like God tier with my Cowboy Bebop and my.
Because I have it up there. Damn, now you got me really conflicted.
It might be my B tier, A tier. You feel me? Okay. It's not my S tier.
No, okay. Because I got it in A tier as well. It's not S tier, but like
say it's not S tier.
Yeah,
like,
I got
to me, Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho. That's S tier.
Those are S tier for sure.
I'd even say Full Metal Alchemist is S tier.
I'm with you,
honestly.
I'm with you on that.
People would argue with me Attack on Titan, but I'll put that in my S tier too. But
I'm sub Attack on Titan all the way. But all right, word. Interesting. Another theme that I really love of this movie is the idea of the idea of being a human that needs to, what's the word I'm looking for? Tetsuo is so consumed by his hatred because he was teased and because he feels like he was belittled by his big brother, but he doesn't realize that all his brother was doing was out of love. And it's this idea of wanting to be your own man, but doing it at the cost of others.
Facts.
Like
He
when
definitely,
men has your mom or dad ever told you like, oh, you're smelling yourself too much?
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Like Tetsuo was smelling himself way too much.
Yeah, he never had that kind of power before and always wanted it. He always had to look up to it. He always had to look up and get saved. He's always had to rely on somebody else's strength to get him through situations. You feel me? His strength didn't really get him there. So when he gets that strength, everybody who saved him now doesn't look like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Now it's like, bitch,
fuck
nigga,
you.
like I'm jealous of you. I wish I could have been doing that. Now I can. It's like you were helping me, nigga. Like you were doing good, but now I'm making it look like you were doing it to be ugly. You know what I'm saying? To be like, yeah, bitch, you a bitch. And it's like you're the only thing he's doing is reminding him that he used to be a bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy how you say the themes of power just corrupting. I feel like that's a lot of things. I feel like that's like you see
that's everybody in this movie
early on. Like you saw the cops early on with the protesters and shit. How the cops were like, you don't give a fuck, just beating the fuck out of people. I'm sitting there like, bro, y'all just doing that. But shit
even like cops. The people of the people leading the protests were using that for power. Like everybody in this movie was trying to gain power of some sort. Like there's no innocent, like the only innocent people are the followers, but the followers are pawns. So it's like everybody's is either using or being used, using and abusing. It's just a bunch of that. Everybody from Kai to Kaneda to Tetsu, nobody's innocent in this movie.
Facts.
But all right, let's get to the best scenes. We can go back and forth, or I can say a couple. You know how we do. But the first scene I wrote down has to be the opening nuke scene, where it's like 31 years after an explosion led to the start of World War III, Tokyo is rebuilt as Neo Tokyo in 2019, and I just love that intro going into seeing the amazing 80s, 90s animation of the beautiful cyberpunk city, and just looking around like through all the different environments, showing how mankind has progressed into this new cyberpunk era. The beginning opening scene gives you the aesthetic, and then that leads me into Kaneda and the bike gang fight the clowns. I just love the atmosphere of the city, and everything is beautiful, and it's such a good chase scene between gangs.
Facts for sure. Like you definitely like the intro, like the beginning, like with the whole crazy explosion and everything, and it just kind of showing you the contrast between the world and the old world and the new world.
Yep.
It quickly shows you, it quickly sets the tone for what the movie's about to be, and it quickly sets the tone for the quality of what you're about to watch too, because the animation was crazy. It was something that was probably never seen before in that era. Like
and honestly, we haven't seen something that beautiful in a while.
Mimicked.
Yeah, it's not replicated.
Exactly. That shit hasn't been mimicked in decades.
And that's something
they did that with paintings.
That's just something that the culture
didn't have
missing.
Technology.
Facts. And like we need more animes like this. That's what I'm always talking about. Like we miss this cyberpunk era of anime. So what's a scene you have after this one?
I had the bike scene too, because the whole bike chase scene and the whole the shit with the cops and how kind of the knock, like what was that? Was that the police that he knocked his head off? I was like, this nigga knock off the policeman's head?
Some random dude, bro.
Sun was cutting up, bro.
And then they threw that they bust up homie's car for no reason and threw a bomb in it. I was like, damn, why y'all blew up that man's car? Bro. Just randomly, bro. Just being a gang. So then the next scene after that I have is Takashi is trying to escape the government, and the guy who helps him, they execute him mercilessly, dude. Like they just start, but they ask questions later, shoot a million shots first. Dude tells the kid to run, and then after he tells the kid to run and he's dying, they end up unloading another clip in him, and then Takashi explodes, and we see the first sign of espers of the telekinesis.
Facts. That shit was nuts, bro. Them ball literally didn't give a fuck. They was like, oh yeah? Game over.
Lit him up, bro. That shit blew my mind. That motherfucker
did not stand a single chance.
All right, what you got after that?
Well, I had some shit like kind of later on. I probably had like that dream Tetsuo had after he got kidnapped.
Wait. Then let me go through some shit then. All right, so then if you got that, because I wrote that down. After Takashi explodes, I have Tetsuo running into Takashi, Tetsuo and Kaori getting attacked by the gang. And then I have Tetsuo has hallucinations of him being Akira and losing his guts. And they have to the people take him and they pull him away. And in the final scene,
that was wild.
That was nuts. Like that was like, oh, that's what we're on right now? Crazy. And then the scene that I have before the nightmare is Kay kills the cop for Kanada's protection. So Kanada has been saving him, and Kanada has been saving Kay, and he's like wanting to date her, but he doesn't realize, oh, she's in this mysterious organization type deal, and like they're trying to escape, and basically she kills a cop for him, and we find out she's part of this terrorist rebel organization, and kind of just like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to get in them cheeks. I'm following you wherever you gotta go, girl.
Oh, Kylo was simping, bro. He was like, let's get it.
He was simping bad. All right, so this next scene you have is the nightmare.
Yeah, for sure. The next scene I have is a nightmare with the when Tetsuo and kind of I didn't at first I thought it was Tetsuo's dream, but apparently if it was his dream, him and the little girl were having the same nightmare or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It was like something like with the little fucking kids in the park was like disintegrating and shit like that.
And then I think it was some Akira in there too.
Yeah, that shit was heavy. Like that shit was heavy just watching that shit go down. The animation was beautiful and just the weight of the scene really hit you super hard. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you 1000%. Okay, so this next scene after that is the Colonel goes underground to see Akira, and we learn like, oh, this is where they have him. And at this point, you're like, damn, they got this dude locked up. Like he's locked up under this much security because we don't know the twist of it yet. And it's like, okay, crazy. And then the next thing I have is we learn about the rebels are led by Nezu, who's a parliament member and the leader of the terrorist resistance movement against the government. Also, we learn the existence of the Akira cult, forming just more branches of just like these people trying to obtain Akira for power. I just had to write that down. So what's the next scene you got? Because I'm pretty sure it's the next one I have written down.
Wait, which one? I'm trying to see where
what you wrote down. What you wrote down after the first nightmare?
I had both of the nightmares back to back.
The murders
and the second nightmare, yeah.
The murder.
Bro,
the
second
hospital.
Nightmare was crazy with the fucking stuffed animals and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The stuffed animals and the fucking milk and I think it was milk. It was all kind of. It was just that shit was weird. Like that shit was thrown off.
Dude's just
Someone
walking
was on some fucking shrooms.
And there's some talking toys and like Tetsuo's just like freaking out. But the thing is, after that fucking dream, to me, when he is like walking outside of the room and the security guards walk up to him, if this was like Goblin Slayer, they would have showed him lifting up the person, slamming him down, then like rip it. Like it would have showed him like Chrissa, he'd have did his hands like this, and then they would have split their bodies in half. But the cool thing about this was all that happened was he just looked at him and then boom, them niggas just exploded. Like it just happened out of nowhere. And I thought that was just such good action. It was like, we're going to like,
nobody expected that shit at all.
That's the thing. We're going to show you more than we tell you. Like if that was a show today, they would have definitely like made him move his hands and do all kind of crazy shit. But I thought it was just so much more powerful of him just like looking at him and then them niggas just exploding. So, okay,
Thanks,
what you got after that?
After that, I have, let me see. I think I got the sewer mission after that.
Okay,
yeah, like the whole sewer mission chase. That shit, it felt very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle-esque. You could tell that's where they got their whole aesthetic for the sewer thing from. Because you could that sewer mission just gave me straight 90s vibes. I feel like so many Akira references or so much shit from the 90s from American Western culture as far as cartoons and live action come straight. Just that whole aesthetic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see the carbon copy. You don't see no shit like that
all the
you
Batman,
know
the animated series sewer scenes, like how Gotham looks. No, 100%. And that's what I said. The security catches the terrorist group, and bro, the way they just blast off that dude Shimasuki, and Kay like lifts his hand up to get the machine gun. I was like, whoa! And then when Kaneda and Kay take out the security, all of that was just crazy. Like you said,
shit was nuts. They go from like fucking motorcycle to jet ski, kind of like, you know what I'm saying? They cutting up underwater with it.
100%. So the next thing I have after that is Tetsuo versus the army/police in the hospital. This nigga just taking niggas out left and right.
He was going nuts. son was going berserk. That was an iconic moment.
Mob Psycho has to be influenced by Akira.
There's no way it's not.
There's no, this made me think of Mob like going 100%, 1000%. Like it just was crazy. Okay, so then the next thing I have after that is Tetsuo battles Akira's brothers and wants to meet Akira. This is when like they're in the fucking room with the colonels and he's just battling all the little kids. That crazy scene. I just wish the little kids were more powerful. Trash ass niggas.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely were. They kept balance. I feel like they were there to show you that, you know what I'm saying, the innocent side of having power. Like, that's why I feel like they were old as fuck, but they were still kids.
They were wise,
they're maintaining that innocence. They're like, we're wise, like, as far as we're old as fuck. That's why they had the wrinkly faces, but they're still kids as far as, like, we maintaining our innocence.
Because they maintain that innocence. Yeah. I think you're 1,000% right.
They told Tetsuo, they were like, we hate when old people do this shit, or like, you too old to be using this shit. I'm sitting there like, he's not even that old, but I'm sitting there like, wait, at the end of the day, he's just old enough to let that power corrupt him. Like those old people, like, you know what I'm saying, or the old people are wise enough to know what happens whenever, you know what I'm saying, you abuse that power, and the kids are too innocent to do that. So I feel like that's why those kids were there to contrast all the power, greed, and that's the only like pure thing.
They're the only innocence. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I agree with that 2,000%. That's a great point. Okay, so the next thing I have after that is Tetsuo attacks Kaneda for the first time, and he loses it. It's over at this point. He has gone crazy.
Oh yeah, that shit was nuts. Whenever he first attacked Kaneda, you didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
And you kind of do what you don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't expect him to, but it's like, he's a little shit. You feel me? He's a little shit and he's going nuts.
You thought they were still brothers. Like, this is the point where it's like, okay, Tetsuo has let go of the relationship. Kaneda has not yet. Like,
he drunk, bro. He drunk with power.
1,000%. So then the next thing I have after that is finding out Tetsuo killed the bartender, destroyed the bar. I love the line of the homie walking in saying, Tetsuo, you look like a damn crackhead. I love that. See, that's the English dub. That's why it was fire. Because he was like, y'all want some of these pills? Y'all want some of these capsules? And he was like, nigga, you look like a crackhead. Japanese dub.
Look like a crackhead, bro.
Japanese sub ain't give you that. They give you that.
I don't know what they said for that. I gotta look. I don't know what they said for that, but that's definitely English dub for sure. But that is one of the things that I did like about the English dub. They kept that bitch 80s. That bitch sounded like an 80s ass American English dub, and it was like faithful to that. You know what I'm saying?
He did look like a crackhead. They gave the
characters. Oh, he definitely looked like a crackhead, bro. He was fucking. He was high on power, bro.
Dope fiend, like 1,000%. All right, so the next thing I got is Kai explaining what Akira is, the energy, and how Tetsuo is like an amoeba just consuming everything around him. The power of Akira is a godlike power. It's something that we can't describe.
Yeah, for sure. That shit, you get it, that it's like you're starting to understand what it is. I was starting to make the connections between Akira and Tetsuo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't making those connections at first. Like, at first I was sitting there like, okay, this is a world full of fucked up weird shit. But then I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm sitting there, he's the second coming of Akira. That's what he's feeling like.
He's trying to be, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then I know you got the scene that I have after this next one, so I'm gonna let you do it after this. But when Nezu kills Ryu and then dies of a heart attack while his money just flies everywhere, and Ryu's just looking at the anarchy, was it worth it? It was the ultimate betrayal, and it just shows how this was only funded by wanting power. This whole desire to change the country wasn't a just idea. It was a corrupt idea, and that's why everyone died from it.
Facts. And speaking of fucking crackhead, bro, that man was on some crackhead shit with that money, bro. Like, he was losing it. But I could kind of see that since before. Like, they were foreshadowing it a little bit earlier. Every time you saw him right before that, he was like slowly, like Yagami, bro. Like, at first he was like calm, cool, and collected. Nigga, I'm doing what I want. And then you saw the bitch come out of him at the end. He's like, shit. He couldn't handle it, bro. He couldn't handle it. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
But he was more concerned about that money than taking his pills. Like, all he had to do was take his pills and he'd have lived. Nigga was dumb, bro. All right, what's the next scene you got?
To take them fucking pills.
Because I know you got a scene.
The next scene I got, let me see. You talking about I want to say the next scene I got is the one where Kaneda pull up. They have the second little meeting with Kaneda and
Oh no, I
Tetsuo.
see. I thought you was gonna say Tetsuo versus the tank.
No, for sure. Yeah, but that was hard. The Tetsuo versus the tank. It just happened so quickly.
That shit, and I got the whole just like moments of that, because then you get the army just killing dozens of citizens, and Tetsuo's like, wait, what? And they just shooting all them niggas.
Yeah, that shit was nuts.
But then Tetsuo just destroys everybody. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, oh, well, if they gonna kill him, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna kill him too. And then he just destroys everybody on that bridge. And then the next thing I have is Kei versus Tetsuo when the fucking little kids are like possessing her. And then I have Kaneda versus Tetsuo.
Oh yeah, Akira. I had that one on there too. I forgot about that one. I definitely had that one on there because that was nuts for real.
Mm-hmm. She was just badass, and them little kids was like, that was their best fight. But like you said, I got Kaneda versus Tetsuo the first time by all of the body parts of Akira when them niggas just shoot.
That is the moment where I was sitting there like, man, the dub not hitting, bro. Because I remember whenever they pointed. I'm trying to get to the exact point, but they had like pointed at a gun. I remember kind of pointed a gun at Tetsuo, and he said something about like they had like a quick banter or whatever, and he was like, "Let's do this," so like, "Let's finish this." I was like, "Oh no, bro, that's it." I'm like, "It's going a little too corny." I remember I was watching the sub too, and with the sub, it said like something completely different. Like it was something like it felt like, and then when you hear their voices that they were like screaming it, and I was saying like, "Oh, this is like," you know what I'm saying? I was already edging my seat in the dub. But they were giving me chills with the Japanese sub, and that didn't like usually that never happens to where I get chills from the fucking because you know they got the signature Japanese scream voice like that like from the old Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
This is OG 80s Dragon.
See, they didn't bring that energy in the dub. That's why.
And that's the thing with me. Like that scene. That was such a pressure scene as far as what was going on. You feel me? They got to bring that energy for
it. It was very, very important.
It was super important.
Especially when Kaneda shoots that shot and you think it hits Tetsuo in his chest, but the battery went out in the shit. And that's when it's like, oh shit, Kaneda no longer. That
really fucked me up.
He no longer cares. But he told him on the way, he was like, y'all don't get to kill him. I get to kill him. That's my friend. I'm going to put him down. So that's why he didn't care. But the next thing I got is the satellite weapon soul blast Tetsuo and he loses his arm. Bro, that nigga was sending shit down from the sky. That shit scares the shit out of me. Because I know we got that technology. There's no way America don't have that shit ready to go. Just bombing niggas from the sky. Oh, that'd be terrible.
We're not going to broadcast it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. That
would be terrible as fuck. Like that beam, that shit looked like it hurt. That shit looked like I can't even compare it to, I was about to compare it to some other shit I seen, but I can't even think of nothing to compare it to. Like
have you ever
seen giant laser?
Have you ever seen Batman Return of the Joker? Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, when Terry McGinnis, the Joker comes back, they legitimately.
I don't remember it.
Well, in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, they jack that idea because they have a beam from a satellite that comes down and shoots on like Akira inspiring constantly. But so that's the scene I got. The soul weapon blast. Tetsuo loses arm. Then I have Tetsuo attempts to absorb the Colonel. This is when Tetsuo's going full Shigaraki, or I should say Shigaraki's going full Tetsuo, because at this moment with the red thing and the arms coming off, that's Horikoshi being inspired by Akira. So I got him trying to absorb the Colonel, and then I have Kaneda versus Tetsuo Part 2 plus the kids.
Yeah, kind of versus Tetsuo Part 2 versus the kids. That was, bro, Tetsuo was really fucking losing it. And it was pathetic to see, but at the same time, it was like a crazy shit show to go down. You knew it had to end.
Baby Muzan inspired by Akira Tetsuo's transformation?
Yeah, that was an ugly ass face. Like that was an ugly baby face.
That's Baby Muzan.
You could kind of see the inspiration in that. You know what I'm saying? And I 100,000% feel like that is definitely a reference to that. You feel me? There's no way it's not, because that design is too unique. Too similar, and I haven't seen it gotten used a lot.
And also felt so bad when Tetsuo killed his girlfriend Kaori, just smushed her in his like body.
Yeah, and he was saying that when he was talking to Kaneda, he was like, "Say to yourself, Kaneda." He was like, "I could feel her pain." He's like, I'm literally absorbing her like pain, feeling her die." He's like, "That's fucked up," and that shit was gross to watch her die. I was like, "Ooh, that's graphic." You know what I'm saying? Like, did she really just splat like that? And I'm looking at Connor and I'm like, ooh, and you about to be next. Sorry for you, dog. But he made it through. But
yeah,
I
he
was sitting there like,
blasted
ooh.
himself out of there. That nigga started shooting, bro. He said, fuck this. I'm shooting my way out. Good for him,
fucking
though.
Colonel went run back into that. Colonel was the first nigga to almost get ate up by it. And then this nigga went right back up to it, up close and personal. I'm like, son, if you don't back the fuck
that's
up,
what
I'm
Colonel
nervous for my
said.
son.
Colonel said, I'm not a leader. I'm a soldier. I'm here to kill, nigga. That's it. He said that the whole time. He said, I'm a soldier. About it. Yeah, he was. So then I
respected that about him too, because he was like, nigga, I'm not with all that. They was asking him to make decisions. He was like, nigga, I'm not the decision maker. I'm the soldier.
I'm just trying to fix the problem. That's all I'm here to do. And it's crazy because I don't think he would have took over the government if they didn't try to arrest him.
Facts.
Like he wasn't that type of nigga. But then I have Tetsuo transforms, like we said, into the big giant baby. The thing I have after that is Akira is born. Akira comes out and is like, nah, fuck this. It's over with. And they start doing the big
Akira
absorption.
Wild.
And then I have the big absorption, fucking scene. And the final thing I have written down is Tetsuo forms the Big Bang and forms the new universe where they send him away and Kaneda survives the explosion.
That was the craziest thing because originally I didn't really understand what
you thought he died, huh? Because that's what I thought.
Yeah, like originally I didn't understand what was going on like a long time ago whenever I first watched it a few times. You feel me? But that low key is kind of he like how you said he created his own universe. This man Tetsuo literally took like son took a pocket of the universe and created it and went there and he's like the god of that universe. He's transcended life. You know what I'm saying? He like mastered whatever it is, the powers he had.
Well, it's him and Akira. That's the thing. It's both of them.
Well, yeah, he fused and the thing is I thought they were one from the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. And the kids went with him too, and they all just fused, and that's why the girl was like, once we get the power and the hatred out of his heart, he maybe can come back.
They're all like a piece of the same entity. I feel like whenever they were asking fucking and of course this is because he thinks he is Akira, you feel me? But they were asking about it, he was like, Akira was never real. It's like, what the fuck you mean Akira was never real? You know what I'm saying? It's
he
like,
wasn't you. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It was like, but I feel like they're all apart because they all got the powers and shit like that. I feel like it was all connected for a reason.
And also that
was supposed to happen like that.
Akira could be in everybody and just a part of everybody in that universe, all the humans, because the kids do tell Kaneda, they're like, Akira's power exists in all of us. The thing is, the hatred in our hearts don't allow us to get at it and achieve it. That's why I was going to ask, do you think Kaneda ever used some of Akira's power to like save himself? And like at the end, I feel like he used a little bit of it with their help.
Maybe, because that shit was too close. He was almost done for.
Because you remember Kay asked him, she was like, did you just, and then the dude comes up, is like, Kaneda, and they just ignore it and they don't touch on it ever again.
Never happens again. Nothing, they never speak on it again. I don't know. I didn't think about it. But he could have. There's no way he just...
It was just them kids.
He like, really saved himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we shall see. But that's pretty much the end of the movie. Any other scenes you had before we move on?
Well, just the end. I really like the end where they showed all the backstory. Like, not the backstory, but they showed all the Akira getting experimented on. He's like getting these psychological tests on.
Yeah.
They're discovering he got some weird issues, and then it had flashbacks to Kaneda and Kaneda and Tetsuo's childhood and shit like that. That was nuts to see. I love the whole. The only thing with me is the ending was so thrown off, just to where it's like I am
Tetsuo.
I forget his name, Tetsuo.
Yeah,
he's like I am Tetsuo, and it was the end. It's like, okay, so that's the explanation. That's your explanation of it. And it's like it's such a dramatic ending and shit like that, and it was just a tightly knit ending to a crazy fucking story. Like the whole story at the beginning, you don't know all the pieces to the puzzle, but they're giving you each piece, and once the puzzle's finally together, it's like ta-da.
Yep. I think it's the perfect ending for this story. Cause like
exactly,
if you kill Tetsuo, then it's a grim and dark story. There's no message of hope. And like
I thought that was gonna happen.
After such a grim and dark story of power corrupting, the consequences of it, Tetsuo went through the consequences of it, lost his loved one, lost the power, but then ends up actually benefiting from it and learning from it and gaining. And then there's the hope that after you go through the turmoil, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So
like
love.
I definitely love seeing that. I thought everybody was gonna die at a certain point. I was gonna be like, that's gonna be fucked up if everybody dies. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying?
a fact.
They kill Kanada, they kill Tetsuo, but like even when I first watched it, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there like, bro, this is that what kind of movie I'm watching? What
Yeah,
type of movie where everybody dies? This gonna be the first movie I see where nobody survives it. But it's just
that's what I
crazy how
thought.
everybody survives it.
You know, and it's just perfect. It's like it shows you that like there's chance, and it's like you got to have a little bit of faith, and that's why I don't think like I think everybody who survived weren't as bad as the people who died. Like you got to think everybody who died was the power corrupted them and there was no hope for them. That's why I say the
Yep.
colonel wasn't that bad. The colonel was bad, but like the colonel was just
He
doing
wasn't
his
that
job.
bad.
He was doing his job at the end of the day. He wasn't as bad as the leader who's inside of the parliament funding the rebels just so he can get more power in the government and then ends up killing the rebels and more concerned about his money. Or he wasn't as bad as the scientist who lied about the data just so he could discover and experiment on Tetsuo when he knows Tetsuo's at a point to where it's like they need to intervene. Like I
Yep.
feel like those two are the ultimate evils of this.
For sure. There was a lot of evil going on that got ended. You feel me?
Yeah.
What happened to the protester? Like the protester that was finessing, like the protester leader.
Died. I'm so happy he died.
Okay,
the
good.
cult leader,
he got murked too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody who was just ultimate evil died, and it was awesome that
They got
cult
their
leader
just due.
died. When he was just falling and he was climbing and he was trying to
Oh,
climb on top of
yeah.
nigga died looking like trying to be a pimp. Like he had long earlobes and his earrings and Nick was just dressing fly, dripped out.
Down terrible, bro. It was down terrible back then.
Joel Osteen, bro. That's who that nigga was.
Boy said Joel Osteen.
Oh shit. All right, I just want to touch on some of the best animated moments. I think the ending of just the whole ending when the explosion's going on and everything's going inside of it. And you remember when Sasuke fought Naruto and they collide the Rasengan in the Chidori, and it goes to that like technological like explosion? That's straight from that Akira.
Oh, yeah.
That looks just like the Akira technological explosion.
They took it right from the shit.
Yep. And then the opening scene, like we said, when they're showing the cyberpunk aesthetic, I thought that was a great animation. I thought when Tetsuo stops the tank's missiles, that was a great animation. Also, when they're on the bridge and they're shooting all the lasers at him and he's blocking it, I thought that was beautiful too.
Hell yeah.
Anything you got that you just thought was beautiful?
Well, for sure, all my scenes, like I always got to give the background shots. All my scenes of the scenery of the new world, all the, you know what I'm saying, aesthetic scenes. That's what I live for. You feel me? I'm one of them people that be on Tumblr looking up Akira aesthetic pictures because they got the best like screenshots
Cyberpunk,
of the best
yeah,
like
they do.
Yeah, the best like cyberpunk shit, bro. Like, and at the same time, I really love seeing all the aesthetic from that. You feel me? But all the hallucinations too in this movie, all the hallucinations, the dreams, like the whole crazy
toys
Milky
and all
stuffed
that
animal
shit.
nightmare.
Yeah.
The whole shit where, you know what I'm saying, Connor wakes up and he's like he's trying to grab his cup and he doesn't reach for it. The cup just like slides to not Connor, Tetsuo. He's in the you know what I'm saying, in the room.
When his guts are falling out in that opening. Yeah. No.
Every single hallucination type of shit or like psychic illusion or whatever. It was nuts, and they made you feel what was going on versus just see it. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Best fights, I would say Kaneda versus Tetsuo the first time when they're outside. I think that's better than the inside fight. I also think Tetsuo versus the tank in the whole bridge scene, that was a great fight. And then I like them inside the hospital when he's destroying the security guards and he's fighting the cops. I think those are the best fights. What you got?
I like Tetsuo versus them old ass kids too. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That was a nuts little a little fight. That was a crazy little moment.
Oh, and Tetsuo versus K too.
Tetsuo versus K was nuts. Tetsuo versus the government, you know what I'm saying? Tetsuo, whenever he was going hard on everybody, it was like, bro, this nigga is nuts right now. Like, what is this man on? You feel me?
But if I had to choose a best one, I got to go with Tetsuo versus Kaneda the first time. When they're
I like
outside.
the second time a little bit better. Like the second time. You talking about, wait, first time?
I'm talking when they're outside right before the satellite drops the beams on them. when he's shooting.
That was kind of crazy. That was really nuts.
That's the one I fuck with when he was actually shooting him. Unlike the time when he transforms into a baby.
Yeah, that was weird. That was definitely weird. You feel me? That whole transformation, I ain't gonna lie. I gotta credit whenever you first start seeing him. Remember whenever he had the robotic arm and the arm was like dripping, he tried to cover up with the cape and shit like that, and his old lady looking like, oh, this nigga losing it. You feel me? When he first started losing control of his powers, that was a crazy scene too.
That's a beautiful scene. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's sitting on the throne with the red cape and the robot arm, that shit was beautiful. That's 100% Shigaraki influence. Like you haven't seen it yet, but it's coming, and like that's there. But okay, let's get to who won the movie. This is hard to say. I guess you could say Kaneda won. Like Kaneda has to be a nomination. I think the Colonel can't be nominated. He just lived, like, but I don't think he won. Like, kind of ended up getting his girl, kept his bike. Like,
yeah,
I feel like Kaneda's the only winner. Oh, besides, and the little kids, the innocent kids, because they're back with Akira and they're in they formed a new universe.
I'd even say Tetsuo because he's in a whole other universe. He mastered his powers with the kids, like fused with some of those powerful entities. Like he was chasing that power.
But Tetsuo took some big loss though.
He definitely, because he killed his old lady, you feel me? He definitely killed his old lady. He definitely lost his fucking mind.
He lost his life, too.
Well, yeah, but he didn't really like that too much anyway. Like, he was definitely the runt. He was like, I feel like this is the best place for Tetsuo to be. Like, he finally found meaning for his existence. You feel me?
I understand the nomination. I'm not mad at it.
That's the only reason why I would even put him in. But to be honest with you, it would have to be Kaneda because he survived this shit. Like, he's the only nigga who truly survived.
But even Kay, she lost all her terrorist companions.
Yeah.
So, like,
she definitely didn't win. She definitely didn't win shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's got to be Kaneda. It has
to survive. If anybody won, it was Kaneda. You feel me?
For sure. Well, let's get to who lost, because there's a lot of losers in this movie. A lot of L's. The nigga who had the heart attack, who lost his money, the corporation corruption guy, Nezu, big L. The doctor who got smushed inside the building and died in the explosion, that's a pretty big L.
Facts. Tetsuo's girlfriend died, big L. Nigga, you should have been dipped. You should have jumped shit when that nigga was on that throne. Ooh, this nigga tripping. I'm out.
The bartender, big L.
Super L for the bartender. Every police officer in this fucking movie, big L.
Big
Y'all
L.
lost bad.
The fucking Joel Osteen cult leader, big L.
Super L for that one. But I ain't gonna lie,
the terrorist nigga in the sewer who got just chopped off by a gun. Big L.
Down bad. I feel like just the most atrocious, the most horrible L that got taken in this movie was Mr. Nezu. You feel me? He's my nomination for number one.
The heart attack nigga? Yeah.
Yes, like you gotta go, bro. You number one worst L. And it was funny to watch. It was like, look at this nigga. I was like, that's about right.
Okay, so you going with Nezu. I'm going to nominate the doctor just because getting smushed in that car is pretty fucking shitty. Like, and going through the explosion, like, that's pretty bad when he could have left. So that's who I'm going to nominate, but I agree with you. Nezu, ultimate loss.
Facts, for sure. He
ultimate loss, because he could have lived. He chose to fucking die. Ultimate
If he wasn't a fucking idiot, he could have lived. Facts.
All right. Who do we have as sixth man of the movie? I know you're not a big basketball fan, but sixth man is someone who it comes in the movie, is not in the movie for too long of a time, but impacts the movie tremendously.
Wait, who?
All right, this is a category we added to the other one. It's called sixth man of the movie, and a sixth man is in basketball the person who comes off the bench and gets a shit ton of buckets and then leaves. It's someone who comes in, impacts the movie, but is not in there for a long time.
Huh.
Who you got is the most impactful, not a lot of screen time person?
Not a lot of screen time person. I guess Kay, because Kay didn't get as much screen time as anybody else, I feel. Okay. Like a lot of other characters got main. Well, she did have her moments.
At the end.
She did have more moments than others.
Other people, yeah.
Huh.
I'm going to go with who added something to their scenes every time. I'm going to go with Mr. Nezu.
Fucking Mr. Nezu, bro.
Just because he was so impactful, just about like understanding the government, even though he's the loser of the movie, I think every scene he was in was impactful to the themes.
Yeah, you got a lot of exposition every time he was on screen. You learn more.
And we loved his death scene. Like, it was impactful.
Definitely. One of the best death scenes I've ever seen in anime. Like, he definitely went out like a bitch that he was.
That's what I'm saying.
He went out like the bitch that he was.
He came in, got buckets, and left. Like, I got to give it to Mr. Nezu. Who you got is like someone who wasn't in the movie a long time but impacted it.
I can't think of anyone. I guess it would just be him, because all my most impactful characters was like the Colonel, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe, yeah, I was thinking the Colonel, but he was in it too much.
He was in a lot. Like, but he's like super... I don't think anybody that was in there short that was impactful.
Maybe Ryu, like from the terrorist organization?
Maybe. That's the closest thing.
Yeah, it's got to be Mr. Nezu. It's got to be.
Akira, because you don't really see Akira until the end.
Honestly, it could be Akira. That's a great choice.
You only hear about Akira. You don't really see Akira pull up to the end.
And the thing is, he impacts the movie the whole time.
And you don't expect him to pull up when he pulls up. Like, whenever you see Akira, the real Akira, you don't expect that shit at all.
If that's your choice, I like it.
I'm going to go with Akira. I'm going to have to run with that, because that's the only one I can think of. I can't really run with anybody else. They've been in the movie a lot. Everybody else I'm thinking of.
I fuck with the Akira answer. Okay, and the final thing we're going to go through is, do you feel that America should make a live action? Let me tell you who is going to direct it. Jordan Peele was going to direct an Akira live action. They ended up switching it for Taika Waititi, the Thor director, but now he can't do it. They may go back to Thor Ragnarok, the best Thor movie. So they may go back to Jordan Peele. How would you have felt about a Jordan Peele Akira movie?
I wouldn't have hated it. I would have been open to seeing what they did. But
I just feel like they need to keep it. And I don't think he would have did it. But if you had made it a black cast, I don't know if I'd have rocked with it. It has to be an all Japanese cast.
Yeah, for sure. It has to be Neo Tokyo.
Yeah, 100%. But I think Jordan Peele could have got the horror aspects of it. I just don't know if he could have got the sci-fi.
Definitely. I don't know if the budget is there for that kind of thing.
But I think they would have put it. Warner Brothers said they would have did it. So, but
some things just need to stay animation, bro.
That's what I was about to say. I'm shocked you okay with a live action.
Not with this one. Not with this one. I feel like with this one,
this is not one they should touch. This is a classic.
I'm never a fan of live action unless I see one that looks good. You know what I'm saying? I'm never a fan of any of the announcements.
The only thing that I think should be live action, and we have to wait and see. I always thought Bebop America could do well, and I always thought Black Lagoon America could do well because that's their bag. But we shall see with Bebop. But this is something that's like, you shouldn't touch this.
Yeah, it's the only ones I could imagine. I don't think any other anime, like something
maybe
belong in animation. Like, I look at the Disney movies, right? This is not
Lion
anime,
King never,
but...
Yeah, Lion King never should have been a live action. Never.
And I feel like that, okay, if y'all want to do that, cool. Mulan with no Mushu, with no music, what's the point in watching Mulan? Like, what's the point? Like, if you take the soul out of something, it just becomes a soulless cash grab. Cash grab. And even if it's not a cash grab, even if it's some shit that the fans gonna look at and be like, ugh, and scoff at and look the other way, it's a big waste of money. It's a big disrespectful, like we were talking about this on Anime Talk last week. Like, I was looking at how they treated Death Note. You disrespected the entire source material by taking the concept of what it was and not understanding what it was and understanding the appeal of it before adapting it. And with something like Akira, the appeal of it is like 99% of the appeal is the aesthetic. I don't want to say 99%, but like, you know what I'm saying? A big percent of it is that style, that art style. If someone ever were to, like how we suggested earlier, someone do like a 12-part, 6-part, 10-part episode series, like
I want that animated.
I don't want to see that live action. Like you said, no CGI. I want to see that shit beautifully hand drawn. Like, I want to see somebody blow 10 mil on that bitch. Like, if you're not blowing 10 mil on it, what's the purpose?
Exactly. And you should spend more now because you know it's successful and you know there's an audience and you should want to put the money into it to make it look great. I'm glad we're on the same
Hollywood,
page.
Especially if you're Hollywood and you got the budget to make a live action movie.
That's the thing. So, yeah, live action, do I want it? No. Could Jordan Peele have made a good one? Maybe. Could Taika Waititi have made a good one? Maybe. But do I want it? No. At the end of the day, Akira's one that should never be touched. All right, let's get to the ranking. What do you rank this out of 10?
I want to give it I'll give it a 9. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like a 8.8 at the lowest as I'll go, but like 9 is
9. Okay, I'm with you.
For certainly like a 9 flat, I'd put it.
All right, you're going 9 flat. I'm going 9.2. So the overall score is divided by 2 is 9.1. Is the running back king is still your name at 9.4? This is 9.1. This is now in second place. Glad Akira is in second place. It deserves to be.
It's not beating out your name, bro.
Yeah, your name is.
It's not, bro.
Your name is special. It's gonna take something special to beat out your name. It'll probably be a Studio Ghibli film.
I don't know, man. They got a lot of movies out there, man.
We didn't do Mononoke.
I'm still saying
yet.
We need a
Mononoke gonna kill it.
That might be 10.
Yeah,
might
that's
be my
what I'm
first
saying.
10.
Mononoke is gonna kill it. What you were saying? We still need to do what?
We still need to do the Digimon movie, man.
I'm
the
down.
GOAT.
That could be
the
next.
GOAT.
Since we've done 2 serious movies, we can do a fun one. We could do Digimon.
They got another
next.
movie I just saw as well. Like I want to throw this one in the rotation. Like if we letting people vote, you feel me?
Yeah, go ahead, say it.
I'm trying to see if I could. I just had it on my. I'm trying to pull it up on my anime.
And if we do Digimon, we could bring Otaku God on because I know that's his bag.
Bro, that's definitely his bag for sure. And I know the Digimon movie like resonated with him as a child, just like it did with me, and like rewatched it again as an adult, and it still hit the same. Like that's one of the ones when I watch as an adult, I'm like, man, this motherfucker still hit.
I think that's the one we're gonna do because I think it'll be special because that's something you've seen multiple times and something I haven't, so it'll be the flip.
Man, I know that movie by heart, bro. Like I could watch you that movie.
Well, I'm gonna hit up Otaku God. We're gonna make that pop off, but I'm pretty sure that's all we got unless you find that movie you was talking about.
I just found my little anime history shit. I just added it to my to watch. No, I guess not. I guess it's not Kyoto Reto? Kyoto Reto? No, that's not it. That's some other shit. That's some shit I saved. I'm gonna watch in my spare time. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like it's gonna be stupid. It seemed like a Terraform Mars type shit. That's not the one I was thinking of.
Okay, I got you. Well, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
At Chrissa SJE, you know what I'm saying? I think I just figured is it King of Thorn? I think I was thinking of King of Thorn.
King of Thorn? Let me Google it.
Ibara no ow.
King of Thorn. Let's see.
And this is one of the ones I don't know much of. I just saw pictures of it recently, and it looks crazy.
Anime movie?
I think so.
Okay.
It looks kind of thrown off.
Shit, yeah. I ain't never heard of this. This looks crazy.
And it looks action-packed.
We could throw this on the list. Fuck yeah. This looks good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I saw this, like, recently. I want to say I saw it tonight. And when I saw it, I was like, why the fuck have I never heard of this in life? I was like, this looks pretty cool. So I just saved it on the side. I'm like, that might be one we could do for the future.
That is definitely one we could do for the future. Probably after the Digimon movie shit.
Yeah, hey, we can get it in. We need to get back on these motherfuckers too, because I love watching movies. I'm a movie buff. I like popping popcorn. I've been popping popcorn on the stove lately, bro.
Ooh.
Real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like bro, I ran through a whole bag of Bob's Red Mill popcorn and a whole thing of Bob's Orber Redenbacher popcorn.
That is the wave. I need to get back on that because microwave popcorn is not as good as the stove. The stove is the wave. Like 1,000%.
Bro, the stove, that bitch hit like movie theater popcorn, bro.
Yes, it does.
Facts.
All right, Chrissa, tell the people where they can find us on social media.
At Chrissa SJE everywhere, you feel me? Go peep your boy out, especially on Twitter, because my content is ridiculous. Man, I just retired the Walker Texas Foolie, or the Foolie Texas Ranger.
Rest in peace. Foolie Texas Ranger was an era.
Bring it back, though. When they come back, just know the Zydeco album coming soon. But I'm going to retire for now and get back on my anime shit.
Hell yeah. Well, y'all make sure y'all go follow Chrissa. You can follow me at LynBWT. Follow the Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Be sure to check out the latest episode of #Anime Talk. And by the time you guys are hearing this, this is the week of the Anime Talk Awards. Be sure, check it out. It's going to be intense. I'm so excited. That'll be out next week or the week of you hearing this. Check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube or follow us on Bros Who Think for more information. But until the next Run It Back, we will talk to you guys very, very soon. Until then, peace.